We had this idea where we wanted to start an opener for a conference with God walking in the garden in the cool of the evening with Adam and Eve. And we wanted to talk about this call back to intimacy and call to relationship. So we had this ridiculous idea that we would paint this forest all the way around the room. But then at just the right moment, there would be a rustling and leaves would just fall gently from the ceiling, which was fine, but we just didn't have the budget to actually facilitate that. So we spent a long time cutting out these leaves and just dreaming and imagining about how maybe God could use this moment. And never in our wildest dreams could we have imagined what he actually did with it. And so the opener starts, the music, the orchestra, everything is happening. And then it gets this moment where the leaves fall gently from the ceiling. And they land on a lady's knee, and she picks up the leaf and she holds it in her hands. And at the end of the night, when we gave an appeal and an altar call to come to Jesus, she was the first one with a hand up. And in a New Christian's Bible that night, she gently placed the leaf in the front cover. And then she told the story to the person who had met with her and led her to the Lord. And she said for months leading up to that moment, she had been having these dreams at night. And in the dream at night, she knew she was face to face with God. And just before she woke up, she would hear a rustling and leaves would fall. And she wasn't a Christian. She actually had never grown up in a Christian family, but she had this reoccurring dream over and over and over. And that night, a friend had invited her to come to conference with them, and she sat in the auditorium as we painted this forest, as the orchestra started. And then at just the right moment, as the leaves began to fall, she remembered her dreams, and she realized she was encountering God in real life. And so it was really easy for her to make a decision to follow Jesus at that point in time, because he had been wooing her and winning her heart for such a long time. I'm constantly amazed at the way that God does that over and over and over. My brother-in-law is Reuben Morgan. He's a songwriter, and he wrote this song once, and it says, it's called Still, and it says, when the oceans rise and thunders roar, I will soar with you above it all. Father, you are king over the flood. I will be still and know you are God. And Rich, my husband, and Reuben, one morning were having breakfast in a hotel foyer, and a man walked up to them and he said, I know who you are, and I just wanted to say thank you. He said, not so long ago, my wife and my children were killed in a flash flood where I was driving. And he said, I got out of the car fine and they drowned. And he said, that Sunday I went to church and I didn't know what to say to God, and we sang that song for the first time. When the oceans rise and thunders roar, I will soar with you above it all. Father, you are king over the flood. I will be still and know you are God. And I'm sure that Rubes, when he wrote that song, had no idea that there would be a father who lost his family in a flood, and yet he gave somebody the words and the vocabulary to sing to find Jesus. And over again, everywhere we look, it feels like God is at work, riding on the back of our creativity.
Thanks so much for watching. You might be aware that Stream Studio is a crowd-funded non-profit, and if you'd be interested to see more videos like the one you've just watched, perhaps you'd consider a small monthly donation. There's a link in our bio which will give you full details.